my queen, my queen. Oh, she, oh, she. Beautiful, wonderfully made. She's heaven's angel. So strong, even in struggle, yeah. When life comes like a storm from every angle, she rises above it all, the backbone of every home. Nothing compares to all she do. The true meaning of every family. She's the glue. Yeah. Malcolm and Obama, yeah, and Jesus too. Oh, she's sophisticated, strong, simply amazing, humble, honest, and helpful, educated, ebony, eccentric, empowering. She's a queen, she's a queen. Better treat her like a queen. Oh, oh, Her strength is amazing. Life inside, 9 months she's carrying. Back to work, 'cause the family she's carrying. Society don't give her just due, but she prevails and stands tall, a champion, a true woman. But nothing compares to all she do. Yeah, the true meaning of every family. She's the glue. Yeah, oh. Where would we be without you? Yeah, you bought us Martin, Malcolm, and Obama, and Jesus too. Oh, she
Hello and welcome to Let's Talk with Bishop R.C. Blakes. R.C. is an author, empowerment teacher, and the proud pastor of the New Home Ministries of New Orleans, Louisiana, and Houston, Texas. His message circles the globe. His conversational and candid approach to challenging content makes him a relevant voice to all generations. Get ready for a life-changing transformational conversation.
Hello. This is R.C. Blakes, and I am so excited today to be able to share what God has put on my heart for you today from all around the world, all different time zones. We are in here. The queens and the kings are in the room, and I am so honored. Please invite some others to come in and to be a part of this discussion today, because I really believe, I guess I always say this every time I come to you, this one is going to really help you to adjust your mindset, especially as women. We're talking today about embracing solitude, finding the beauty and the benefits of being alone. Now, of course, I am not promoting that one should strive to be alone or one should live her life as a hermit. Of course not. It was God who said it's not good for man to be alone. And that's true on various levels, romantically, friendship-wise, community-wise, camaraderie-wise. We feed off of the positive energy or the spirit of others, right? We are never at our healthiest when we are isolated and we find ourselves disconnected from others. But watch this. We are certainly not at our healthiest when we make it a necessity to connect with people that are unproven, or to feel the need to stay attached to people that are toxic. Relationships should not be toxic. They should be tonic. That's good, isn't it? I heard someone say that. I don't know who said it, but it's true. A relationship should be a tonic, not a toxic. A relationship should make you healthier, not sicken you. And when we do not learn to embrace solitude, number one, being able to distinguish isolation from solitude, it's not necessarily that I'm by myself. Sometimes it's that I'm to myself. Yeah, put that in the comments if you're participating on that level. It's not necessarily that I'm by myself, it's that I'm to myself. Sometimes I need solitude to really discover me, to find, the relationship that is mandatory with me. I can't relate to you until I've learned to relate to me. And for many women, because society has made you feel like your value is directly linked to your relational status, you have never embraced your seasons of solitude, and you've forced people into your life that were never designed to fit. And so now you look back after decades of it and you say, well, my life is full of traumatic experiences. So now all men are dogs, no people are friends, the world is just blah, 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 blah. The reality is, in a lot of ways, we contributed to our own trauma because we never embraced our seasons of solitude. And so, contrary to popular belief, there are numerous reasons why embracing solitude can be empowering and fulfilling. Now, if you are an introvert like I am, and it's hard for a lot of people to believe that, I'm an extrovert by necessity, but I'm an introvert by nature. I could very well sit in my own home for months without necessarily having any real human interaction outside of my wife, you know, because that's who I am by nature, but by necessity, by purpose. I've learned to be extroverted, and I've learned to embrace people, but I fully appreciate solitude. I get so much accomplished. I get a chance to organize the thoughts in my head. I get a chance to um, dispose of the belief systems and the ideas that are not serving me in solitude. When there are too many people around and there's too much noise, I find it more difficult to deal with me. So, in this presentation tonight, we will delve into at least 7 distinct points that shed light on the beauty of a woman, in particularly being alone. And I want to say, and I don't want to say, that this is for women over 40, because the principles really apply to women of all ages. I just kind of said, well, I'm going to direct this towards women over 40, because the world gives you a whole different set of lies and indoctrinations when you hit 40 and 40 on, really 30, 35, really. The world says, well, you're not this, you're not that, you're not that. So it makes the idea of solitude that much more traumatizing when you have subconsciously allowed the lies of the world to seep into your subconscious mind and impact the way you view yourself and the way your evaluation of you. But these principles apply to everybody, male, female, younger, older, whatever. But in reference to women, the Bible said this would happen, especially in the last times. In Isaiah 4:1, it says, and in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we'll eat our own bread, wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. It's a reproach for us to be by ourselves. It's a shame. It's a sin. It's a disgrace for us as women to be without a man. Isn't that where we are now? Isn't that where we are now? Some say, well, R.C. Blakes promotes feminism. Not so. I live my life, Lisa and I live our lives, really probably 95 to 98% according to traditional Judeo-Christian principles. I'm no feminist. It's just that I'm a healthy man, and I don't have to be a feminist to say that, it's wise for a woman to learn how to earn her own money. And when I make statements like that, they say, oh, he's a feminist. I'm no feminist. I don't believe in feminism to that extent. I don't. But I have good company in the Bible when it comes down to having a fatherly or a paternal view of how I deal with women. Job set aside an inheritance for his daughters. Job in the Bible. The daughters of I can't remember my man's name, but there were a set of daughters of a certain man that died, and the rules of Israel were that all of the inheritance would pass on to the nation if he didn't have sons. Well, the daughters came to Moses and said, it's not fair that we are this man's seed and everything he worked for pass on to others besides us. And Moses said, they're right. And he went and asked God. He said, are they right? And God said, yeah, Moses, they're right. Give them the inheritance from their father. So when I make statements like a woman should learn to earn her own money, it's not that I am a feminist. It's that I'm a healthy man that feels the responsibility to position womanhood in a healthy and productive place. And so now when I say, well, women should learn to embrace solitude, I know some are going to say, oh, well, he's a feminist. No, I'm just a man that sits by and I watch how women are traumatized and broken by these standards of society that makes them believe that if they don't have somebody present in their life is not worth living. And so women today are fitting into this same mindset of Isaiah 4:1, which this is probably the day it speaks of. They're saying, take away our reproach. We don't need your money. We'll buy our own clothes. Just give us your name. Let us be able to say we're attached to you. That's how desperate women are for attachment, not even connection, not even relationship, just attachment. Doesn't even have to be love, just attachment. Now, since women fear being alone, what happens is the fear women have of being alone produces the reality that more women are alone. You'll never be able to overcome the reality of being alone until you break the fear of being alone. A great fear of anything gives birth to the thing you're afraid of. So if you're sitting there and you're watching me now and you are fearful that I'm not going to have a relationship, I'm not going to have a man, I'm never going to be in a relationship, you know what you're doing? You are fueling that reality. Because fear is prophetic. Your fears are pretty much an accurate prophetic demonstration of your future. I love what Job says in Job 3:25, for the thing which I greatly feared is come upon me. And that which I was afraid of is come unto me. As long as you live with this fear of being alone, you will always produce that reality. Whatever you focus on develops. If you're focused on the fear of being alone, that's what will develop. When you become healthy and you can move away from the fear of being alone and you can become grateful for being present, it's then that you can produce greater outcomes. I love what 2 Timothy 1:7 says. God's not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And what's a sound mind? A sound mind is a mind that can reframe a fearful situation to empower one's self. So I say to you today, as a woman, you are no longer walking in a fear of being alone. You're reframing this. You're not by yourself, you're to yourself. And this is your season to perfect, to grow, to develop, and to do all of the things that are necessary to show up as your best version. And when you show up as your best version, now you're empowered to attract what you actually deserve. You don't have to settle now. You can attract what you actually deserve relative to relationships, specifically romantic, friendships, so forth and so on. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, a healthy mind is always capable of finding the positive over the negative. So you're by yourself, you don't have any, it's solitude. It's not isolation. You're not by yourself, you're to yourself, right? Now let's get into this because I've taken too much time just with the introduction. I have 7 points relative to the beauty of being alone. Number 1, when a woman is alone, it is an opportunity for self-discovery and personal growth. Kind of alluded to that already. It is your opportunity for self-discovery and personal growth. Solitude, I love what Paul, how do you pronounce this guy's name? Coelho. I don't want to mess his name up, so I'll spell it. You pronounce it how you want. Paul C, I'll call him. He says, solitude is not the absence of company, but the moment when our soul is free to speak to us and help us decide what to do with our life. Glory, that's good right there. That's why a lot of us, unknowingly, detest solitude. It's because when you're in solitude, now you can hear yourself. Now your spirit can speak to your soul. And sometimes we don't like what we're hearing. And so when we surround ourselves with all of these people, we don't have to grow. We don't have to discover ourselves. Self-discovery can be a frightening proposition. We talk a lot about self-discovery. In fact, self-discovery is the second leg of the three dimensions of Mordecai mission, where Lisa and I mentor women. We talk a lot about self-discovery, and one of the things we discuss in Mordecai mission under self-discovery is that a lot of times the greatest revelation is one of the greatest ways God allows us to discover who we are is to locate who we're not. Because it's in solitude, it's in seasons of solitude that you get to really step outside of yourself, look back at yourself, and you're able to say, that behavior is no reflection of who I really am. And most of us are functioning from a false persona that was handed down to us through trauma, through indoctrination, through social conditioning, through whatever. And it's in solitude that you get a chance to step outside of yourself, look back at yourself, and declare clearly, this is no reflection of who I really am. That is not me. You got to figure out what's not you before you can actually embrace what is you. So solitude offers a unique opportunity for self-reflection, introspection, and personal growth. That's what's going on with you right now. I know you're sitting there and you're depressed because you don't have a man and the holiday seasons are getting ready to come around and I ain't got nobody to get up under the mistletoe tree with me and all that. Babe, get up under the mistletoe tree with yourself, not with yourself. When alone, women have the freedom to delve into their innermost desires, passions, and dreams, unburdened by the expectations of judgments of others. That's one of the things I love about solitude is that, when I'm in solitude, I'm not under the critical judgment of the world. Nobody's watching me. Nobody's paying attention to see if I make a mistake, if I mess around and be human or whatever, so they can make a big noise about it. It allows the woman to discover her true self, explore new hobbies, and cultivate a deeper sense of self-awareness. I love what Galatians chapter 6, verses 4 and 5 says. But let each one test his own work, and then his reason to boast will be in himself alone and not in his neighbor, for each will have to bear his own load. In other words, take the time to yourself to be able to perfect yourself so that you can actualize your gifts and your abilities so that you can boast in what you've accomplished in God as an individual. You cannot maximize individuality, when you're desperate for somebody else other than you and God. Second point we have here is one of the beauties of solitude is you get a chance as a woman to do what most women have never done, and that is you get a chance to nurture your independence. Susan B. Anthony said, independence is happiness. And I agree with it. Now, again, for those of you that will say, oh, he's a feminist. When I say independence, I am not suggesting independence from God. I don't think there's any such thing as being independent of God because God is our life source, right? And anybody that seeks to be independent of God is a fool, in my opinion. I am also not suggesting that the woman develop a mindset that makes cooperation with others, more specifically a man, impossible. We're not striving to create a generation of women that are so independent they don't have the ability or the capacity to blend into a cooperative relationship with a man. That's not what God has ordered. I personally believe that one must master her own independence to, in a healthy sense, actually come into an interdependence with a man. I think it's only when a woman knows she can do for herself that she has the capacity to take the risk to trust someone else. Big difference, me trusting you to carry the weight when I know I can carry it myself, from I gotta let you carry it because I can't do nothing for myself. Big difference. If I trust you to carry the weight, but I know I can do it myself, if you fail to carry the weight, the broken trust is not it's not the demise of me because I can step in and do what I already know I can do. So I think a woman that has a healthy perspective on her own independence becomes a greater candidate for becoming the woman that can submit to an interdependence with a capable, qualified man. I hope that that's clear because people love to take what I say and misconstrue it. The Bible says in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he'll make straight your paths, because our independence is always based in our dependence on him. I'm independent because God is my source, right? And when you as a woman understand that God is your source, and you can do it because God is your backup. God is your source. So being alone provides women with the chance to nurture your true reliance on God. Because many women, as I have the opportunity to witness, many women are relying on men to be to them what only God can be. This is why the Bible says in Psalm number 46 and 10, be still and know that I am God. Be still. Stop running. Relax yourself. Sit in your solitude and know this. Know that I'm God. And by learning to rely on oneself and one's God and make autonomous decisions, women may develop a strong sense of faith, self-sufficiency, and resilience. The independence leads to increased confidence, self-esteem, and a greater ability to navigate life's challenges with grace and strength. I think women that are independent have a greater capacity to trust than women who have not exercised their independence muscles. Just my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. Number 3, finding the beauty in solitude, or the beauty of being alone as a woman. You develop, or you find the freedom for self-care. The freedom for self-care. And you have to understand this. Self-care is not selfish. Eleanor Brown says, self-care is not selfish. You cannot serve from an empty vessel. That's Eleanor Brown. One of the things that puts me in the position I'm in as an advocate for womanhood is I've watched my mother, I've watched my wife, I watched my grandmother. I've watched these ladies fulfill the traditional and even some non-traditional roles of womanhood. My wife has fulfilled the traditional and even some non-traditional roles in our family, depending on how the family is structured. And I say all the time, I wouldn't want to be anybody's wife or anybody's mother, because these individuals give more I would much rather be responsible to go out and earn the money and pay the bills than I just would not. I don't know if I have the capacity to actually run a family, take care of a husband, take care of children, take care of all the bills, figure out groceries. I just don't know if I could do it. I don't know. I think as men, maybe I shouldn't say that. I don't want nobody jumping down my throat. I just don't think we as men, I don't think we have the temperament most of the time to be that selfless. Let's put it that way. And what I find is with women, excuse me, with women who are preoccupied with families and relationships and children and all of this, it's almost impossible for them to find the time for self-care. And so they taking care of everybody else, but they don't have the time to take care of the most important person to everyone. Lisa and I had this conversation years ago. She was just running herself ragged. She's learned a lot better. She's learning to take care of herself. And I thank God for it, because she was just running herself ragged, taking care of me and the children. And I'm like, you are the glue that holds our family together. You're the most important person in our family. And if something happens to you, you've not done us a favor. I said, you'll do us a favor if you just let us handle whatever we need to handle and pull away and take some time for you to do what you need to do for your own sanity. There was a point where, Lisa would take personal vacations because I realized she needed a vacation from me. That wasn't a lack of love. That wasn't disrespect. I'm a handful. I'm a whole lot to manage. You know what I mean? I'm not an easy husband to be the wife of. And I thank God I was wise enough, and I'm wise enough to recognize that. And so Lisa's gone on cruises by herself. I know a lot of men not secure enough to allow that. So don't go challenge your husband with that. Every man can't do that, She's gone on vacations by herself. And I have no problem with it, because I understand that the most important thing for me is the well-being of my wife. And if my wife is going to be her best, she's going to have time for self-care. Well, when you are in a place, in a season of your life where you are alone or you are in solitude, babe, it's time for you to live your best life. Solitude allows women to prioritize their well-being and engage in self-care practices without compromise. You don't have to feel guilty. You don't have to feel like you're missing your duties or your responsibilities. It empowers them to focus on their physical, emotional, and mental health, fostering a deep sense of self-nurturing. So if you're a single woman and you're miserable, you're not emotionally equipped to be in a relationship with anybody. Because if all of your time is yours and you can't find something to do to make yourself happy, there's no man, there's no relationship, there's no group of friends that would have the power to make you happy. Let's see. By investing time and energy into self-care, women can recharge, rejuvenate, and cultivate a strong foundation for their overall happiness. I love what 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 19 and 20 says, "Or do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit within you, whom you have from God? You are not your own, for you were bought with a price, so glorify God in your body." Taking care of yourself emotionally, spiritually, physically is a part of glorifying God. And when God has given you a season of solitude as a woman, it's time for you to become your best self. You should get in the best physical condition. I say this all the time. Any player, let's just look at football, that's a free agent, unsigned free agent, has to work out harder than those who are already signed, because he needs to be fit when a team comes searching. Any woman that is single and has a desire to be the wife of a great man, hopefully you have the desire to be the wife of a great man, should be putting herself physically, emotionally, financially, spiritually in the best shape of her life because she wants to be recognizable by the kind of man that she desires to have as a husband. Praise the Lord. Let me move on from that. Now, number four, the beauty of being alone, finding the value in solitude as a woman. Number four, cultivating meaningful relationships. Osho says the capacity to be alone is the capacity to love. It may look paradoxical to you, but it's not. It is an essential truth. Because the capacity to be alone, watch this, means that one has fundamentally developed a loving relationship with one's creator and oneself, which are the foundations of being able to love someone else. Here's the first commandment: love God with all your heart. Second is like unto it: love your neighbor as you love yourself. Love God, love you. And out of your love for God and your love for yourself, now you're able to love your neighbor. You cultivate meaningful relationships when you've developed completely a relationship with the Creator and with yourself. So contrary to the assumption that being alone means being lonely, solitude can actually enhance the quality of relationships based on the things I just stated. When women are comfortable with their own company, they can attract and cultivate more meaningful connections. By understanding their own needs and desires, they become better equipped to engage in healthy and fulfilling relationships built on mutual respect, understanding, and shared values. When you're comfortable being alone, it means that you're not in a rush to be attached. It also means that you now sit back and you're able to discern and observe and choose if this works for me or not, because I'm not desperate. And being by myself is, of no consequence. I know how to do that. This is why the Bible says in Ecclesiastes 4:9-10, two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor. If they fall, the one will lift up his fellow, but woe to him who is alone when he falls and has not another to lift him up. Now let's look deep into this text. He says two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor. If an attachment to somebody is not productive, you may have a physical body there, but you're alone. You may have somebody sleeping in the bed with you, but you are alone. And he closes out by saying, woe to him who is alone when he falls and has not another to lift him up. How many of you have had folk physically present, but still weren't there to lift you up? Well, you can't really determine, that's Ecclesiastes 4:9-10. You can't determine meaningful relationships until you're comfortable being able to walk away from a thing and being able to be by yourself. And most of you have not been able to walk away from toxic situations because your fear of being alone it overrode the trauma that toxic attachment was generating in you. Because you have not developed yet enough self-love to be able to recognize when others are not loving you properly. I hope that you all are sharing this. I really do. Hope you're liking this. I hope you're sharing this, because this is the kind of teaching that can really shift a generation of women if they would hear it. The cup is empty. Number 5, finding the beauty in being alone, pursuing divine passions. I initially had personal passions, but let's call it divine passions, because Passion is energy. It's embracing solitude provides women with the freedom to pursue their God-given passions. You see, every one of us as individuals, we were born with these God-given passions. The Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go. When he's old, he won't depart from it. That's not encouraging the parents to shape a child in the direction you desire them to go. That's admonishing the parents to find out what the child's passions are and shape the child in the direction of the God-given, the innate passions that God has given the child. Well, when women embrace solitude, you get a chance to really pursue your God-ordained passions. And how many women are watching this right now who, because of all of these relational expectations, you don't find the time to embrace your God-given passions. So the thing God puts you as an individual in the earth to do, you've swept all of that under the rug for the sake of fulfilling this and fulfilling that and fulfilling that. And you say, I can't find a way to balance it. Balance is probably a difficult word for anybody, but harmony is quite attainable. And if you have a man that you're considering, a man should understand this. I'm gonna get back on track, but I got to say this: a man that you would consider should understand what your passions are, and if he's not enough man to accommodate your passions and support them, he's not enough man to be your husband. Because you have a husband and children and all of this does not mean that your personal God-ordained passions should be discarded. You should be able to fulfill all of that because now you have a husband and you have kids that can help you. You don't have to do this by yourself, right? Back to my point, embracing solitude provides women with the freedom to pursue their passions wholeheartedly. Without the constraints of a relationship, they can dedicate time, energy, and resources to their interest and creative endeavors. This pursuit of personal passions not only brings joy and fulfillment, but also opens doors to new opportunities, personal achievements, and self-expression. Proverbs 16:3 says, commit your work to the Lord and your plans will be established. Now, number 6, and I only have 7. Number 6, finding the beauty in being alone. Number 6, I'm sorry. Rediscovering, it allows you to rediscover your inner strength. Solitude offers women a unique chance to rediscover your inner strength. By embracing solitude, you can tap into your resilience again, your determination, and courage to overcome life's obstacles. This process facilitates personal growth, fosters a deeper understanding of one's capabilities, and empowers women to become your own greatest source of strength and inspiration. See, a lot of times you forget how strong you are, a lot of times you do. And when you're in your season of solitude, when you're blessed to be alone and you don't have anybody to lean on, you don't have no best friends hanging around, you don't have a man to fall back on, it's then that you discover how strong you've always been. A lot of y'all have forgotten. But when you're by yourself and you're all you got, come on, man, it allows you to rediscover or to discover your inner strength. You're stronger than you realize. The world wants to make you believe that you're some helpless little damsel in distress. You are not a helpless little damsel. You are not in distress. You are in complete and total control. You are a queen with all of the same powers and abilities as a king. You just happen to wear a dress and you speak with a softer tone. Whereas the king might scream out an order, you can whisper it and get the same results. Because you are strong beyond your capacity to imagine. And sometimes God has to allow you to be by yourself to rediscover yourself. I pause right there because I need you to think about what I just said. Rediscovering your inner strength. I remember, man, and you've heard me talk about this many times, when we on the Gulf Coast of the United States of America, in New Orleans more specifically, were completely devastated by Hurricane Katrina. It's almost 20 years ago now. It's hard to believe it's been that long. Man, all of my ministry was washed away. You know, everything I'd built for 18 years, that's what I was called to do. That's how I made a living. I was the pastor of this amazing church. And Lisa and I were sitting in a hotel room in Atlanta, and she says to me, now, at this point, I had been taking care of her for years. You know, I was the sole provider for years. Lisa's an RN by training, and till today, she still keeps all of her credentials up to date. And Lisa said to me, sitting in that hotel room, while I'm sitting there bewildered, trying to figure out, now, how am I going to provide for my family? What's going to happen with my life? What about my city and my church? Lisa says to me, she says, I can get a job, and I can hold us down until you get things figured out. And she literally went out and got job applications all in Atlanta. And I said, no, not yet, not yet. But it was amazing to me. It gave me such respect for my wife to know that the same little feminine woman that was my wife had the wherewithal and the strength to step into a crisis moment and say, listen, I got you. Well, if you're going to be that kind of wife to a great man someday, babe, you got to learn how to maximize your strength in your alone season. You can't be sitting here whimpering and crying and whining about you need a man, I want a man, I can't do this. What you mean you can't do this? You got to do what you got to do. You gotta discover or rediscover your strength in your season of solitude. Because when you get a great man, you never know when he's gonna need to lean on you. And I'm a poor little damsel. Ain't no king looking for no poor little damsel. Kings are looking for strong, powerful queens. And strong, powerful queens have maximized their strength. And they know how to step into difficult moments. Well, in your season of solitude is when you should discover your strength and master your strength. I like what Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. There's nothing I can't do, man. What are you talking about? There's nothing I cannot do. I can do whatever I need to do. You got to understand that as a woman. There's nothing you cannot do. Don't you buy into, the world's limitations. And because you're a woman, you can't make it out here. You can't succeed in corporate America. You can't succeed in ministry. It's too hard. Stop telling yourself those lies because you never know when you're going to have to do it. And then number seven, and finally, I know somebody said, I'm glad this dude is stopping all of this long talking he's doing. Well, this is who I am. I can't be nobody but myself. Right? People, let me stick with my thing. I almost said something. Let me leave that alone. Number 7, embracing the beauty of being alone is embracing your personal freedom. David Icke says, the greatest prison people live in is the fear of what other people think. Being alone allows you to break out of the prison of social norms, community expectations. Solitude grants women the freedom to live life on their own terms, free from societal pressures and expectations. It allows them to break free from the shackles of conformity and embrace their unique individuality. Romans 12:2, be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Being alone empowers women to make choices that align with their own values, their own desires, their own aspirations, leading to a life filled with authenticity, fulfillment, and personal satisfaction. You can live your life on your terms. You know what I mean? Just do you. Do you. It's your opportunity to embrace personal freedom. Babe, you can do what you want. If you can't be happy doing what you want, you are never going to be happy being married to somebody. Because when you get married to somebody, you can't just do what you want, male or female. Everybody concerned about, women getting married to men and men dictating the life of the woman. To be honest with you, we as men find ourselves doing what the wives tell us to do more than the wives do what we tell them to do. Quite often. At least that's the way it's set up around my house. Just give you a funny example. I went the other night to get a bag of chips out the pantry, and I come back, and now Lisa on the other side of the bed minding her business. She should be. And she looks. Her glasses, and she see me with those chips, and she says to me, not at all, not tonight. It's ridiculous. This would be your third bag of chips today. Now, how is this woman counting the bags of chips that I'm eating that I pay for? And then tell me I can't have chips. You know what I did? I gave her those chips. Well, if I was single, I could have ate all the chips I wanted. I could have embraced my personal freedom. But because I'm married, I got to have a lady on the other side of my bed telling me I can't have chips. So that's all I got for you today. Of course, I'm not leaving you. I'm just shutting it down right here. But I pray that you've gotten something out of our conversation today. And my prayer for you today is that the Spirit of God will give you freedom from the spirit of loneliness. And that you understand it's not loneliness. You're not by yourself. You're to yourself. And it's not isolation. It's solitude. That's my prayer for you. Now listen, if you need counseling, and I know many times we struggle with all kinds of things in our minds. The mind is, it can be a tricky place because it lives in the past. It goes into the future. It many times reframes the present moment in ways that creates trauma and drama. Sometimes we need somebody to talk to. Well, I'm no counselor, no therapist. But if you look in the link, if you look in the description, there's a link for BetterHelp Counseling, who we have a wonderful relationship with. And if you use that link and you discover that their counseling is something you might want to use, they will give you 10% off of the cost of their counseling for using the R.C. Blake's Ministries link. And in turn, they'll make a deposit into R.C. Blake's Ministries because we recommended them to you. So if you need that, be certain to go and do that now. Now, also, don't forget to go by Amazon, pick up all of my books. My latest book, Me, My, Mine, The Father-Daughter Talk, Queenology, Imperfectly Holy, the list goes on. Thanks to all of you that have sown into our lives. Lisa and I never take it for granted. We appreciate you with all of our hearts. We really, really do. We love you with everything that's within us. Now, what am I forgetting anything? Am I forgetting anything? Don't forget to like this video before you leave today. I need you to help me to get my numbers up. My numbers have not been right. My community is not helping me the way I need you to. Help me to get these numbers up, if you will. And I imagine that I've said everything I need to say. So I'll say this to you. We love you. Go to my website. That's what I was forgetting. Sign up for my mailing list. Check out all of my online programs. We have taken Mordecai Mission and we've packaged it into an online program. And for right now, it's at a discounted price. And the reason I put it as an online program is because I'm not certain when I'll be able to do Mordecai Mission with the 3-month Zoom call. And of course, that is more costly because we have a whole team there. It's every weekend for 3 months. And so we took all of the content, put it in an online program. You can go through it at your own pace and you can get the same thing that the ladies would get in the Mordecai Mission on, Zoom call. Only difference is, of course, we don't have the whole team, and Lisa and I are not sitting with you every week to answer questions. But if it's the content you're looking for, all of it is there. It's newly uploaded, and right now it's at a discounted rate at rcblakes.com. So I love you. You're on top. You're going higher. God has more in store for you. So we will see you at the top. Don't forget to like this. God bless you. Until next time.
We here at R.C. Blake's Ministries want to thank you for spending this time with us today. R.C. and Lisa are always honored to have you with us. Don't forget to reach out to us by visiting our website at www.rcblakes.com. While you're there, you may join our mailing list and receive a free download of The Laws of Manifesting Your Vision by R.C. Blakes. Also look at all of the online programs by R.C. You may find all books written by R.C. and Lisa. Once again, all of us here at R.C. Blake's Ministries want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And as we always say, see you at the top.